If you need internet so badly, why don't you just climb out of my walls and use it?
I don't have to climb out the walls. You can just give me the password. That's yeah.
That's true. Hey, you want a laptop while you're in there?
Yes, please.
I literally was like, at this rate, if more than one of them worked, I was like, should I ship one to H? Sadly
You
for
have so many
you.
fucking devices. It's unfair.
Sadly, only one of them worked, so that's gonna be my backup computer. But
Who just has this shut? Oh yeah, that's gotta be my backup computer. What
I
the fuck?
technically have three computers.
I
I
want to
know
kill
that's how that
myself.
sounds now. I have this laptop, right? My main laptop. Uh, I have that backup one now that I'm going to have plugged up in my room from now on. Basically, if it shuts down or anything, I lose like everything that I have signed into and all this stuff. But that's fine. It's fine. But I can like watch YouTube and stuff on it still, and a bunch of other stuff. So I got that one. And then I also have my dad's gaming computer, well, his PC that I use as a gaming computer now. So, which is how I stream Twitch. In other news, the backup laptop has a better webcam than my normal laptop that I spent a obscene amount of money on.
That's funny. That's real funny.
So I don't know if it'll be able to handle StreamYard and me doing sprints, but I want to test it. So
Unfortunately, I will not be there. Don't remind me.
yeah, you haven't been to sprints in so long. You missed me making T-Rexes in video games today. How could you do this to me?
I'm upset. Don't stop.
How could you do this to me? Who am I supposed to hang out with? Oh, I'll cut this out, but I figured out where my mom was. She was buying eggs, and then the guy at the store was talking to her for like a whole hour, and apparently next spring she's gonna go halvies with him to buy a pig.
Buy a what?
A pig!
A pig?
Yeah,
Um,
I don't understand.
will you do me a favor? Also, cut out me bitching about my mom.
Yes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm probably gonna just keep the part where I do the cold open. That's it for this part. I should actually do the intro now.
Oh wait.
Um,
I'm always eating when we start. I'm so sorry.
Dude, it's been so long. How do we do this?
I hope you know I probably just ate a pound of mustard.
um, Hello. I'm Flower, aka Rose. What's my fun fact for the day? I don't fucking know anymore. I'm tired and I need happy brain juice. That's it.
Okay. My name is Fish, aka Stingray. Whatever. I have a list of facts today. I just ate a pound of mustard. Second, time of recording, it is Thursday, the 20th, which means I see Spirit Box tomorrow. It's fine, I swear. Thirdly, what was the third thing? Oh, I won a storygraph. Fuck, I won a storygraph giveaway yesterday. So, you know. Also, a new Spirit Box song came out yesterday as well, and a fucking shit. I won a storygraph giveaway. Spirit Box really fun, and Sleep Token. I did not listen to the Sleep Token song because that's like half the album at this point, and I want to listen to some songs when the album comes up. Hear me out, because it still doesn't come out for a whole month. I don't know what's going on. I'm not prepared at all. When am I ever? But,
Yeah.
I put my phone on the charger, so it won't die while we're doing this, so.
Well, not for you. I had a list of things to say, but around week 1 of not being able to record this, I forgot them all. So.
My glasses are literally on the fucking floor right now. I would also like you to know that last City of Bows notebook fell off my bed and I just left them on the floor. You're gonna have to cut out so much shit because we're just gonna be talking.
Honestly. So I guess I should finish the intro, right? So this is a very much stream of conscious podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. On this episode, we're talking about the Second Ice Planet Barbarians book. But also, we haven't recorded in like a month. This episode comes out tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna have to do the fastest turnaround for this podcast, like, ever. Stingray does not have internet right now, so any quality issues that are worse than normal, that's why.
No, I technically do have internet. Okay, right. But, like, my mother has not paid the bill in, like, a month. So it's, like, I can barely, like, I'm surprised this works right now. Like,
honestly, so
It'll work. It just takes approximately 30 fucking minutes to send a single text message. Text message. My phone is not on. I don't have a fucking phone number. What the fuck is a text message? I don't know what that is.
No, literally every time we message on Instagram, I'm like, okay, is it this message that Stingray's replying to this message or to a different message? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure I'm like 30 minutes ahead of Stingray right now, so who knows anymore?
No, because you really are, because then I'll reply to that message, and then 20 more will pop up after I send that. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, God damn it.
It's especially great when I send you a photo of my dog, and then you reply to it like 6 hours later.
Listen, like, I can see it's there. I can see the box.
And you know it's my dog, so what else would I send you?
I can see the picture, but sometimes it won't open up, so I can't see all the details, the beautiful, beautiful details of Bella's little face.
Detail of her through the pod room door.
I thought you were just going to be a picture of fucking metal, okay? I thought it was just metal. I thought it was just something metal, because I couldn't open it yet and see her little face in the window, which is fucking hilarious.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. And I was like, literally no one will understand why I'm laughing at this, except for Stingray. So then I took a photo and sent it to you. Oh, goodness gracious. There used to be a bird feeder thing over there, but a fox knocked it down. We originally thought it was a bear, but there was, like, no actual, like, claw marks or signs of an actual bear, so we think it was a fox, because that's what we generally have here. And we haven't had coyotes in a few years.
I just found, like, 5 million gigantic knots in my hair. It's fine.
Oh, I love that for you. I showed my mom the picture of Bella barking at the delivery people, and she also laughed, so, At least we got that going for us. Should we actually talk about today's book? I don't know.
No. Absolutely not. No, I should just veto everything. Is that the right word? Whatever the fuck you want to call it. And just do the Tristic Spinner right out and fucking wing it. Because I have everything ready for it.
I love that for you. Listen, you did try to veto this whole entire reading of this book at one point, which I will bring up.
I did.
I put it in my notes.
Hard.
I put it in my notes for this specific scene, or this specific part, and I was like, I have like a screenshot of our DMs because of something you said, and I want to bring it up for this, like, crazy. Anyways, the first part, the very important part of this podcast is, you guessing how many pages of notes I have.
Before that, I would yes, my Tristic Spinner notes are ready, even though I wanted to go through them and rewrite them all into a little precise thing. So that's just an option if you just want to, like, not do this right now. But, this episode probably be shorter than the Tristic Spinner episode, so I'll be nice to it. I'll just say, yeah, we can do it. I'm gonna go with, I'm feeling a solid 3.
Oh, no, it's 7.
I'm gonna kill myself. Bro.
When I said there's a lot the other day, I wasn't lying.
Bestie, no, I don't think you understand.
Uh-huh.
I have to spend a whole day with my father tomorrow. I'm on my period, and now you're making me sit through 7 fucking pages of this. I might actually kill myself.
The good news is I wrote the notes hilariously. For everyone listening, I read this book almost exactly a month ago. Actually, I can actually look it up. It is obscene how long ago I read this book. I listened to this one and the third one, while, like, I just had it in the background, and then I typed up notes as it was going. That's basically how I did it for these two. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Oh, I forgot. I just remember that I'm supposed to fucking cook dinner tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
I have to touch meat with my hands. I have so much to do. It's fine. It's fine. It's good. Good going.
Yeah, it's been almost exactly a month. I read it on March 30th. The way that I brought down the rating of the first book to a 2.5 and gave this one 3 stars, and I may bring that one back up to a 3 star. I think they're on par. Spoiler for the next Ice Planet episode, which isn't for 2 weeks. I like the third one, like, kind of a lot.
You know, I'm just gonna go full of chaos mode with this one and ignore what you just said and just do all the shit I need to do while we're doing this. You know?
Oh, fun.
It's just watering the plants and doing my nails because I can't do the rest on what we're doing. Is I can't let my hair sit while we're. I mean, I can, but I have to get. It doesn't matter anyways.
Okay, don't worry. I found the screenshot of the DMs. That's gonna be important. Anyways, yeah, no. Similarly to the first one, I took notes on each part, bullet point notes with some of my thoughts thrown in, as I was writing them. Sometimes, especially when the idea of consent is brought up, cough, cough. But then also at the end of each part, I say my thoughts in general about that whole entire section, right? Um, so kind of a thing back to the first book. The first book ended uh after Rahash and Liz, two of the characters. I don't know. Should I do like a summary of that one? Basically, a bunch of human girls kidnapped are on an ice planet and are now being mated with barbarian aliens. There you go. That's it. And at the end of the last one, Rahash stole Liz away. I really assumed this one was gonna start off right at that, but no, it goes back like a whole entire day. So we already know
You
he's gonna
know,
kidnap her.
I am very grateful that you just summarized all that because you think I remember the fucking thing that happened? No, I thought that shit
Yeah,
out.
I know. I realized that. I was like, oh, I should, I should do that. So yeah, it starts before that. When they're waking up all the pod girls, there were two group of girls. There were the girls in pods who were the ones that were supposed to be kidnapped. By these aliens to be sold off. But then they decide while they're there, might as well pick up a few extra and just shove them into this area. And those are the ones that are the ones who were already awake, experienced a bunch of stuff in the last book. And so at one point during the last book, they wake up all the pod girls, because survival gotta go. I don't know, a bunch of stuff. So they wake up the pod girls, and instantly it starts with ignoring other people's trauma. You know, where basically it's this whole thing where all the non-pod girls, the girls who have been awake this whole time, have been going through a lot of stuff, including starvation, um, hypothermia, assault by aliens, being abused by aliens, all this fun stuff. Right? And so
I'm sorry, assault via alien is the most outrageous thing you've ever said. I can't. Like, I cannot take
yeah,
anybody. I
yeah,
can't
no,
take
I'm just gonna
anything.
shoehorn in here that one day during sprints, I think I was reading this, I don't remember. Um, someone brought up, I know who it is, but I don't remember if I know who it is properly, so I'm not gonna say. On Sprint said that they tried to read the first one, but they couldn't get past the assault scene, and I was like, yeah, no, it took me out of the game for like 3 whole days. Like, why is it there? We will never know. Um,
My rice cake is broken. That
uh,
was very important information.
so they've been through a lot of stuff, and it instantly starts with like the girls from the pod complaining that it's cold, and they're like a little hungry, and like how like they need blankets because they're a little chilly and all this stuff, and like the way it's described is that the non-pod girls are like, how the fuck dare you? I've been freezing to death for like a week, like all this stuff. Um, and it's like very much like erasing the pod girls trauma of like just waking up in this situation, like holy shit, but also the pod girls erasing the trauma of the non-pod girls of having to survive this long for this week, right? um so it's just a lot of that happening, and basically I hate every side character ever in every book. Like, I even hate Georgie, the main character in the first book, in this book, and Bechtel, the main character or the love interest in the first book. I hate him in this book. So like that's kind of
I
a
don't
thing.
care about anybody but the alligators.
Dude, this is the one where they bring them up again. So have fun with that. Um, so I realized I disliked everyone when one of the pod girls asks if Liz, the main character, this one follows Liz and Rahash. Uh, the way I remember how to pronounce his name, dear God. Um, One of the pod girls asks if Liz is mean because she's sick due to the air, because there's poisonous air to humans. Um, like it's like she hasn't been through all this shit for like a week. Um, and it's just a lot of everyone ignoring everyone else's trauma. It's a good time. Rahash is the biggest of the aliens, and he has his eyes on her. But she doesn't think he's resonated with her. Uh, and also doesn't think he understands English. He doesn't have the translator or something. Cough cough. He does, and he has. So, yeah, he resonated with her, but he wants to keep it on the down low so no one knows and can understand English, so he understands when she calls him scary. And also, it's hinted that he may be a virgin at this point. I have thoughts about that. Um, so they take the girls to
Yeah,
get.
I'm sure you do, bestie.
Dude, we're. God. They take the girls to get the worms, the symbiote things. I call them symbiotes or worms, which are these things that get punched through their necks to
No.
make it so they can breathe the air and survive in these harsh conditions and all stuff like this, right? Except she calls it cootie.
I was going to say I could contribute so much to this podcast when I said worms, but I cannot. Like I simply cannot. I might have to go. Like I
You're not allowed to leave me with this on my own. Um,
respectfully watch me.
just hear the sound of you hanging up on me. But yeah, she calls the worms cooties. It's really annoying. It's like supposed to be funny and quirky that she does it. But after the first time, it was really fucking annoying. I hated it. Um, he tries to bundle her up and carry her, to the getting the symbiote stuff, right? Since she has a few broken toes, but she won't let him, and he has to be stopped by Vectel, the alien guy from the first book. Uh, According to Rahash, they are both stubborn, and that's why they are a good match. Right? Makes sense, totally. Uh, she doesn't like the idea of a symbiote choosing her man for her, and that she has no say in this. And she used to hunt with her dad. That's like some information we get. Um, so she watches Georgie get it from the first one. We've already experienced this. Basically, it happens with like cutting open your neck and then putting it in. And she freaks out for good reason. A little weird. So she decides against getting one and tries to leave. But then Rahash forces one in her as she's screaming no. I'm laughing because it's already starting and I hate it. She
I
passes
hope you know
out.
I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
Hold on. Like this. I'm sorry. I just have to sit here. Reaction first. Hold on. No, I don't think Taylor Swift is gonna. Here we go. Here we go.
Thank you,
There we
computer, for
go.
turning
No,
on.
send. You can continue. I don't know when those are gonna send, but there'll be a. Oh,
Oh. Oh. Yeah. That's generally a theme throughout the book. Consent. Yeah. Um. So she passes out from it. That happened with Georgine, the first one, right? He realizes he'll be in trouble with his tribe mates, so he takes Liz to his secret cave. Uh, so the last book ends with them noticing that they went off and he stole her, but no one tries to go after him. They just say he'll be in trouble when he returns home, but he already knows that. So maybe he won't return. Like, how is that protecting the humans? If your job is to protect the humans, why would you let them connect the humans and not like do repercussions until he comes back, knowing that he knows that he'll be in trouble if he comes back? So why would he come back? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah.
make it make sense.
I just.
Um. Oh my God, not more. Do I see more in my future? I'm just. That is actually a picture of you. While I try to explain this book. Um,
Yeah, I'm doing my nails at this point, so
ooh, good times. What color?
blue,
Oh, so one I can see.
multiple shades of blue.
I don't think I'll be able to tell them apart. Um,
Silver shine. One of them is kind of metallic-y, so you will be able to. Don't worry.
okay. So he ends up setting her toes, because the worm can't heal it until like they're in the right place, right? So like if you have a broken bone, you have to like put the bone back into place, and then the worm will heal it, because the worms make it so we have super healing, right? Kind of makes sense. Get it? Kind of similar to the werewolves in Twilight. I hate how my brain just connected that. I hate that for me. Why am I like this? I'm just gonna drink my soda.
Oh, my mom. I can't do this.
Like remember the
We
time
should
when
have a Twilight
Jacob breaks his
episode.
arm and um they have to like put it back into place before hand, because if they don't it will like heal wrong and stuff, right? Yeah. That kind of. So anyways, the sensation of doing that causes him to throw up, which shows that she's already making him more sensitive. Cue the eye rolling.
No, he's so real for that. The sensation of him doing that, making him throw up. Yeah, when someone's like, you touch this weird thing on my arm, I'm like, no. He's so real for that.
His parents
Also, we should do a
disliked.
Twilight episode.
We should. Um, it's actually just us watching the last Twilight movie. Wait, imagine this. I tell you we're gonna watch a movie for my birthday. I tell you it's a sci-fi movie, and then imagine if I just pull up Breaking Dawn Part 2 instead.
I wouldn't be mad, but I
uh,
prefer part one, so you know.
um, no, I'll actually show you my favorite movie. It is sci-fi. Have fun.
I don't
So
mind sci-fi, but like it's not like
it's a good time. And you're gonna be so confused and low key bored until the very end, and then you're gonna be like, wait, what? Yeah. Um, and then I get to explain things to you because it took like 3 watches for me to fully understand what happens in that movie. It's a good time.
oh, then I won't understand a damn thing whatsoever at
Uh
all, even when you explain
huh.
it to me. So
Uh huh.
that's gonna be fun.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited. We're gonna have
That
like an
was
hour
too
long session
really
afterwards where I
fun.
explain everything. It's gonna be a good time.
I should not be allowed to check my notifications while we're doing this because I literally just fucking squealed. Anyways.
Yeah, I heard it. I just talked over it. Um. So his parents disliked each other. So in his eyes, he can still mate with her, even if she hates him for saving her life. Consent? Question mark. He did technically save her life, giving her the worm since she would have died within a day. Uh, and hear me out. Communication. That's
Are
another good
turkey
thing.
they okay?
Communication and consent. Real issues in this book. Hear me out. Um, Also, we learn officially that resonating isn't really about emotional mental matches. They're more physically who you can have kids with. Um, we'll rerun from the first book. Basically, the worm symbiote things make it so you resonate with your mate, who is a person that you match with. We learned this one physically so that you can have kids. Like you can't have kids with someone unless you resonate with them. Um, which the third book goes more into the idea of that like resonating is like a thing and you like can have a kid with this person and all this stuff, but like love is still a thing. And finding love outside of resonating and stuff like that. That one's more like that. One of the many reasons why I like the third one more. Anyways, um, he undresses her and starts touching her naked body under the guise of making sure she's not wounded anymore. Parentheses, she's still unconscious, and decides to play with her third nipple real quick. Yeah, because they still call it the clit third nipple throughout this book. Good times.
I
Um,
forgot. I can't do this.
oh, just wait. He cleans and dresses
People
her
love
after
these
contemplating
books.
mating with her.
No,
No, she
people
is
love
still
these books.
unconscious.
I'm gonna cry. People like these books. Like there's tears in my fucking eyes. People like these books. People love these books.
No, literally, if it wasn't for
I
this
will pay
podcast,
for
I
y'all
wouldn't DNF
therapy.
it.
You know.
She wakes up clean and redressed and starts freaking out for obvious reasons. Um, When Rahash comes close to calm her down, she realizes she's resonating with him, which she doesn't like, so she tries to claw the worm out. And so Rahash stops her from doing that, and in order to stop her, he ties her hands, but also her feet. And during all that, she is fighting him. She's trying to fight him, and says that she hates him. Uh, so he starts cooking for her, and she realizes the others aren't there, which means it's just her and him. Oh no, what is he gonna do? She gives herself a pep talk out loud, not knowing Rahash can understand her, still thinking he didn't want to resonate with a human, so didn't get a translator, and she can say anything with no issue, but it's the opposite. Basically, for like a good chunk of the book, I think the first two parts, is literally just her talking all the time, because she's one of those people who's like a nervous talker. When there's silence, she has to talk type thing, which I get. I'm the same way. But he's the type of stoic, silent person.
Mm.
So like the first two parts, he never says anything to her. And I'm supposed to think this is romantic. Send help. Someone get her out of this cave. Also, communication, we don't know her. A little note is that it's difficult to tell via audiobook when she's thinking something versus saying it out loud, just a thing. She ends up falling asleep and then wakes up alone, super turned on, so she starts having some solo time, despite her hands still being bound. As well as her feet, but like, to the image of Rahash, she says his name and pleasure, and then he walks in. I remember when this moment happened, I set the book down and I cried for like 5 minutes, because what the fuck am I reading?
No, I'm trying to figure out the logistics here. Like, if she's still tied up and she's alone.
I spent a good chunk of time being like, wait a second, how does this work? Because like,
is it just purely based on thought and no, like...
Dude, at one point, it's just her, she just leaves the cave, and I'm like, what happened to her bound hands and feet?
But also, after everything she just went through, she's like, oh, I'm horny. Like, huh?
Okay, that one I low-key get, because the way that the resonating of the worm works, it makes it so you're, like, really horny for the other person that you're resonating with, so...
He wasn't even there! I don't know.
And he wasn't in the cave at the moment, so she was like, okay, I'm alone. I mean, I guess I would, like, make a plan to escape, but she was like, time to rub one out real quick,
I don't like it here. I don't like it here.
I read the book. At least you don't have to read it. My thoughts for this part was, consent, we don't know her, 30 minutes in, and it was already talking about how his dick reacts to seeing her naked in his bed. He's really has not said a word to her, especially when she understands, so the communication is only one-sided, and he has all the power, which we love, because he understands her, but she doesn't understand him. If he does speak, he speaks in the Ice Planet language, which she doesn't speak, because she doesn't have the translator from the ship, so she can't understand him, but he can understand her. Good times. Oh, this is the great part where I opened the content warnings and saw kidnapping, which is obvious, and then pregnancy in the graphic section, which is when you messaged me. I told you this. You said, then don't read Blue Aliens, SSD, and I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm stubborn like these bitches. We're just gonna ignore. I saw the pregnancy tag on Storygraph, and then you said, no, in all caps, no, with a lot of O's. Bessie, abort the mission. Abort mission. Please, you need a 5-star. Please read a book you'll enjoy. And then I said I rated a reread 5 stars. And then you said I didn't say abort on purpose. I wasn't trying to do a bit. And I found this very important, very funny.
I forgot about that. But secondly, you said pregnancy and then you said kidnapping, and honestly, my first thought was Dion. So. You're like, hey, Dion. Hey, read this. She's never gonna let that down. Like you just say, oh yeah, the kidnapping book. I love that. Like, I love kidnapping in books. Like, you're never gonna live that down. Like, I'm so sorry, you're never gonna live that down.
Yeah. I think this is around one of the first times we had a conversation that, like, pregnancy in books, especially romance books, not a good time. Unless if it's Peter Malark in Catching Fire, when he's like, if it weren't for the baby, and then I scream, because that scene is iconic.
You understand me so well, bestie.
I really do.
Me
I
too.
really do. That is like the most iconic scene ever. I love that scene so much. Literally,
Catching
I
Fire is that
screamed
bitch
when
who
I
will always
watched
do
that
that bitch.
scene last week. And then I messaged you that I was at that scene, and you were like, I recorded
Literally, do
myself
you remember
reacting to
during
it.
no, do you remember during spring break when I literally watched Catching Fire twice back to back because I was having issues in my head? Like,
I mean,
it's
same.
that bitch for a reason, okay?
Yeah. um. Also, I wrote the note. Where are the gays? Can the worms make you resonate with someone of the same sex since it's based on reproductive match? Chances are at least one of the girls is gay. So, it's never brought up in this book, but it's low key brought up in the second one, where or not the second one, the third one. This is the second one. In the third one, where it's more of a love match and less of a resonating match. Where like love is a thing and people generally end up being in love with the person they resonate with, but sometimes that is not what happens. And like there's like a whole thing where there's like the person you choose and the person you resonate with, and you end up having kids with that person, and then you have the person you love on the side, and dealing with that. Um, so there's probably gays, but they don't resonate. So that's fun. Love how those worms totally support gay causes. You know.
Not the worms being homophobic. We love the worms. Why are they homophobic?
um, Second part. So while she was rubbing one out, he's watching animals. And he's all ready to mate with her, but she won't let him, saying she doesn't even want to have sex. It's just like the resonating forcing her to be doing this. Um, he internally it's like his point of view at this point, right? And internally he doesn't remember her name. I doesn't really like how she looks. Lovely. He feels betrayed that she's willing to get herself off without him, so he whips it out to put her through the same torture. That's a literal quote. His cock is apparently the largest family part, and they mutually masturbate while watching each other, like stare into each other's eyes and all this stuff. And I'm like, already. So real
Ew.
time.
Just ew. I feel
But
like
yeah,
there's so many clips that we can clip out of this, just of whatever like stuff we're saying, and that could just really,
yeah.
like just me saying ew or like anything I've said at all this whole thing. Honestly, oh God.
Um, then we get into my third of the three main issues. We already got the consent and we already got the communication. Now we gotta deal with he thinks her pushing his advances away is her way of saying she's interested. Uh,
I
if
have
you
nothing to add but silence. Okay.
if you do this in a math equation, if you add miscommunication with lack of consent, you get this shit, and I hate it here. Anyways, we're moving on because I don't want to talk about it. He licks her orgasm. Why did I say it like that? I hate myself. Off her hand, and she hates how his lack of boundaries makes her worm resonate. Uh, he's still not talking to her despite knowing what she's saying, so she's just saying random things, not knowing he knows what it means. Um, Despite knowing what she says means he doesn't listen to her because oh yeah, no, like despite he understands what she's saying, he never like actually listens to her. That's another thing. Like I could somewhat let it pass, not really, but like if he's like listening to her and stuff while she's talking, maybe I could let it pass. But no, literally at one point she's like, "My dad took me hunting. I know how to hunt. You should let me help you," and all this stuff, so we can like do stuff together. Um, and he just ignores her and wonders if she may know how to hunt because it looked like she wanted to go with him. Also, I'm
You
thinking
know,
of
I'm
Mom's
not.
name.
Listen, I know I'm having a very not good time, but I just realized something, and it's the fact that if this was gay, I would probably eat this shit up, honestly.
Same.
But
Uh,
like, that's
uh,
totally different things, okay? So like, it doesn't matter. It's not like,
uh, in his POV, we learned that he's lonely, and no one wants him. And I wrote in parentheses, maybe it's because he kidnaps girls and then gets mad when they don't want him to touch them. You know. Um, just a
Count
thought.
something.
That's a thought I thunk. He comes back to her bathing and sewing the skirt she was wearing into pants. Um, he hand feeds her raw meat. Because the worms make it so you can't taste cooked meat, and so raw meat is better. And she accepts, she doesn't mind if it's cooked or not. So, um, she tries to communicate with him, so he puts
Oh,
his
like
hand. Oh my god, I forgot this part. She tries to communicate with him, so he puts his hand on her boob. She pushes him away. And he recognizes it excites her worm, so he does it again. So she slaps him, saying no means no, and walks away, which makes him happy because she's feisty. And I would like you to note that is third and fourth time she slapped him. Um,
maybe she needs to do more than slapping here to get it through his thick ass skull.
well, according to him, it's feisty, and also, it's just the game of courting for humans. If they say no, it's just a part of the courting ritual.
I hate it here.
Me too. I really do. But yeah, she also slapped him when he forced the worm into her, and when he tried to carry her that one time. Yeah. Um. Oh, also at one of the times when she says no, she says nope instead of just no. Which he thinks nope is part of the mating ritual, so he's remembering it for the proper moments. I forgot to write it down, but at one point at the end, they're going at it, and he says nope, and she's like, wait, what? And he's like, that means like that's your courting word, and she's like, no, that's not what it means, my dude. Red flags. She feels bad for overreacting and slapping him twice, and I wrote, but really? um, Hear me out. Not overreacting. Uh, she knows survival things, so she plans to make a bow to hunt and go off on her own. Uh, he senses her planning because she's being nice, so that she's not suspicious. But then by her being nice makes him suspicious. So he tries to rub her back, and she pushes him away, which makes him feel better because that's familiar. It's like a cat and mouse game at this point. She sneaks out while he thinks she sneaks out while she thinks he's sleeping. So, but he's actually awake. So he follows her from afar. Um, Good times. Uh, she's getting wood from trees that look like eyelashes, and the bark is spongy to make a bow. Uh,
Spongy?
yeah, but slimy and spongy inside, so it won't be good. They make a bow.
I
Um, oh yeah, so this is where we go into like the two suns thing, which is like my big thing from the first one. So it has two suns, so Howard, is it a nice planet? Apparently it's explained that they're very far away. Um, but I am 98% sure in the first one they were much closer than they're described in this one. So good times. She goes into a sulfur stream. If you remember, that's where the alligator-like creatures are. And pulls out a bamboo-like stalk to use, but it's one of those alligator things that are positioned to trick creatures so they can eat them. I think it's never really properly explained, but the way I understand it is that like their nose is like looks like bamboo, and so they sit in the water with their like nose sticking out, and so something could like grab the bamboo, thinking it's something to use, and then they eat whatever grabs onto them, right? And that's your alligator lore.
love them. They're so real.
um, Rahash comes up and kills it as it goes to attack her, and then goes after Liz, who's backing up into the water because like, oh my god, he followed me. Is he gonna hurt me because I left a cave? That type of stuff. But also she's turned on watching him come after her, so he picks her up to carry her home, but she kisses him. Um, she teaches him how to kiss, and they make out. She wraps her legs around his waist as he heats up. She continuously says she doesn't want it, and then initiates the next step, including grabbing a boob and some third nipple licking, giving her two orgasms. And he goes in for a third time when she says she's too sensitive, and then his response is saying mine. At which point she realizes he speaks English. And that's the end of that part. My thoughts for it is before this, the only English he said is her name a few times. I already brought that up. Any spicy scene is her saying not to do something, or she doesn't want him to do something, and then forcing him to do it. I wrote in all caps nature lore. Um, I also asked, how the hell did she get out of her binds? Um, the pairing, two stubborn people, one who never talks and one who talks to fill the silence. And also just assume whenever it's Rahash's POV that no matter what is happening, he's thinking about mating with Liz or how strange she is. And that's that. Uh, we're on to page 4. And the third part. You ready?
No.
She's angry that he never mentioned he speaks English, but he's going for more nibbles, so she punches him away, hurting her hand. He stops going in for some more licky licks. Why did I say it like that? Because he's worried about her hand because she punched him. And he tries to check on it, but she pulls away, saying he lied about speaking English. He says she never asked. She just talks all the time. I'm rolling my eyes to the back of my skull. He doesn't understand sarcasm. He still doesn't understand that she can hunt, thinking she's too fragile. He says he'll provide for her, and she steps back, that she wants to provide for her friends, which he very low-key feels bad about, like, taking her away from her friends and leaving them all to fend for themselves. Like, not really fend for themselves, but making them more vulnerable than before. But then ignores it and makes her go back to the cave. In that whole entire scene where he was getting a licky lick, he ripped apart her pants, so now she doesn't have pants again. He thinks she doesn't find him attractive. She does. He likes that she's a fighter. That's a red flag. She's starting to become, sad with the knowledge that he's hiding her away until she's pregnant, not wondering what she wants, like does she want a baby, all this stuff. She uses the bamboo that she got from the alligator thing to make a bow. She tries to make peace with him. He's very much in the masculine mindset of needing to take care of the feminine person, despite her knowing how to take care of herself. And then he hand feeds her meat again. But they're both into it, and it's kind of weird. Also, the thing that they're eating is described as a vampire beaver.
What?
It looks kind of like a beaver, but it drinks blood. So she calls it a vampire beaver.
Honestly, can we get rid of the aliens and the girls and just focus on the planet?
I like the lore of the planet. Like, hear me out.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the first book was the lore of how the ice planet barbarians got there. And all that stuff. He will feed her before he'll eat himself to take care of her. He has no family and barely any friends. He agrees to take her hunting if she cuddles him. So he strips her after she makes her bow and 4 arrows so that they can naked cuddle. He only has one horn. One of them broke off, but she still finds him attractive. The mixed singles? What? The mixed signals come to a head when she gets angry after he doesn't recognize her need to have a say in the mating, and he tries to cuddle her, but she pushes him away, and he thinks it's the mating ritual of humans, so continues. You know, consent? Question mark. My head is literally in my hands right now. I hate it here. She recognizes the issue and tries to explain to him when he starts going at it, ready to eat again. She reciprocates. Oh yeah, so she gives him a blowy, and in the process learns that he is a virgin. This is kind of my favorite scene in the whole entire book, and I will explain why in a minute. She pities his loneliness. We learn blue ice planet aliens aren't circumcised. Very important information. He cleans her up after this, oral fest. I don't know what else to call it, and she finds it sweet. He takes her out hunting the next morning, making sure there's a path that she can follow home if they are separated when they are surrounded by these weird furry creatures. I'll talk more about them in the next part, because that's the end of part 3. So basically, we're gonna talk about how the blowy part was my favorite part in the book, and let me explain why. He has no experience in this department, so he specifically in this moment is in her hands. He gives her all the power. She's the one in control. And so basically, she's no longer powerless in this scene and has power for once and control. And he's the powerless one for once, switching the roles basically. But also then reminded me of a book I actually enjoyed and almost rated 5 stars, and then I wanted to read that one instead.
What was the book? What was the other book?
Twice Shy by Sarah Hogel.
I think I don't know.
If you want to read a book about a slightly more experienced woman and a man who has absolutely no experience, that one's much better.
Well,
my mom is home, but we're gonna just continue. We're on page 5, part 4. So they're surrounded. He tries to make her run home, but she stays to help fight, shooting a few of the creatures. And he feels pride in that fact. But then they're gonna go all attack her, all these weird fuzzy creatures. I don't even know how they're described. It was so weird. So he distracts them and jumps off a cliff, knowing that they will follow him. She runs down after him, doesn't jump. She goes an actual path down, and he's wounded pretty bad, which pisses her off. He's unconscious, bleeding from his head, and she slits the throats of all the creatures that survived the fall. But also left the bow at the top of the cliff, and I'm pretty sure she never gets it back. Real smart survivalist here. Obviously he's super heavy. He's over 7 feet tall. So you may be wondering, how does she get him back? Because he's got broken bones and all this stuff. There's this hunting technique with dragging deer out of the woods type thing, and she basically uses that to get him home. That's it.
Leaves a weapon, but thinks about this random ass hunting technique to carry this alien man back. Okay.
You don't need to know anything. Just know that she gets him there. He also briefly wakes up during the period, which makes sense. He's literally dragging on the ground and he has broken bones and a hole in his head somehow. So he briefly wakes up and tells her to leave him so she can be safe. But she's stubborn, so that doesn't happen. He eventually does wake officially. And he's worried when he awakens that the resonance will make him force Liz into mating. Good sense. He's barely awake and wants to have fun with Liz. Liz cares for him for 10 days, and I write not in that way, as in she actually makes sure he's alive and all this stuff for 10 days while he was asleep. He's healing slowly because his worm has been focusing on the resonating, and if it doesn't happen soon, he'll be forced to take her. He wonders if she knows this, and I note, clearly she doesn't, because he explains nothing to her. And yet you learn at a later point that he explains more to her than any of the other men explain to any of the other women in this book. So, I just having a good time. She takes a sponge bath, wanting to bang Rahosh, and he wakes up and eats her up from behind this time. This part. And then they mate.
Yeah,
but I would like you to know.
I
would like you to know they mated, but I didn't realize they had mated until a few minutes later. That's how lackluster it was. That's how much I care.
This is so more tolerable when you're painting your nails. I'm not getting hot out no polish right now, it's fine.
She tries to explain foreplay to him and he honks her tit. They bang 5 times. He finally not my mom in the kitchen, and most likely being Hairball. He finally explains he's been lonely for so long, and if he loses her, despite her being strong, he'll have nothing. And so they bang again. While he was out of it, because she couldn't really go away and hunt for long periods of time, she set up traps to catch food. And so they're out checking the traps because he's still injured. Some of the Ice Planet barbarians show up, and he plans to run with Liz again, but she talks him into staying and seeing what's up. Thoughts. She's very nonchalant about the idea that she may be pregnant because as soon as you mate, there's a high possibility. So, good times, despite the fact that she was like, I want a choice. He doesn't care what I want, despite the fact that he just wants to make a baby with me. He doesn't care what I want. All this stuff, as soon as they happen, she's like, sure. And also, this part was mostly just them begging. Yay! Any thoughts yet?
So we have inconsistent characters. We have more interesting lore than anything that's going on. We have no consent. We have no communication.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god. I just, instead of putting my nail polish brush back in the fucking bottle, no, I just stuck it in between my leg and the bottle, so there's nail polish on my pants. I love my life.
Oh no. On to the 5th part, the second to last part. We're so close. We can do it, Stingray. We can do it. We can get through this. Okay. So, the Ice Planet men come up, and they're acting low-key rude to her, like she's owned by Rahash, which I find weird, because later on, he will literally be shunned for the stealing her away thing. So why would they, be rude to her and be more listening into what he has to say and what he wants to do than her because she is his object if he's gonna be shunned? Like, when they listen to her, good times. They decide to go back with them, and they learn that only the pod girls have resonated, not the other non-pod girls. We also learn that there's not many of the aliens because of the sickness, of a sickness that happened that, killed off a lot of people. We learn more about it in the third one, because there's, stuff about, another cave system, and all this stuff in that one, so, we learned Rahash's mom didn't love his dad, but when they resonated the second time post-Rahash, she wouldn't do it, so he kidnapped her and tried to force her, which led to her death, and then his dad was exiled and is also presumed dead.
Why is the planet lore, the characters' parents' lore, and everybody else's lore more interesting than anything that's going on with these characters?
I know, right? Also, it brings up this idea even more that Vectel was like, I'm not gonna go after him. It's probably fine. I'll reprimand him when he comes back. But any of the aliens would have known not to come back because they would be reprimanded. But Rahash more than anyone else, because his father literally did the same thing and was reprimanded for it. So he knows exactly what would happen. And so you think he'd go after him, but no, they just accidentally run into him and bring him back. Good times. Are you a puppy? There's a puppy behind me. She goes to cuddle with Rahash while sleeping, but the men don't want her to be alone with him, and I quote, "We are protecting you," and then she says, and I quote, "from his jizz, bit late for that." Yes, I did
Honestly,
pull up the ebook to actually get that quote.
Honestly, she's so real for that. That was kind of funny.
I know, I laughed out loud, and then I paused the audiobook, pulled up the ebook, downloaded it from Kindle Unlimited, just so I could pull up that quote, just so that I could put it here. That's how funny it was.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. That's the one thing I've appreciated this entire time, besides the alligators and the vampire. What was it?
Beaver.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So they start to cuddle a few feet away. They're still within visual distance of these guys. And she decides to make them jealous with some sweet loving time. That's how I worded it exactly. Sweet loving time. It's initially one-sided, her getting him off, so the others know she's into it. Then he says he loves her and realizes he wants her to feel the same. And he ends up reciprocating sexually, so good times. And then they arrive at the cave system, at which point Rahash looks uncomfortable. She misses the reclusiveness of their solo cave. And the other girls force her to see a healer. Kind of makes sense, right? No one accepts that she's fine with Rahash and he treated her well. And she learns she is pregnant, which is about 78% through the book. And then we learn alien pregnancy will take anything up to 3 years. They will be pregnant for 3 years. A moment of silence for these
Sorry,
women.
what the fuck? How the huh?
Apparently the aliens gestation period, is that even the proper terminology? I don't know. Is 3 years. And the human one is 9 months. We all know that. So like their best estimation is it's gonna be somewhere in the middle. So probably more than a year at least.
No, how? Huh?
Yeah. A few of the others
I
are
need
pregnant.
more information.
She snaps at Bechtel, the love interest from the first book, who's in charge of everyone, about deciding her future with Rahash without her, and it's low-key great. Like, the way she's snapping at him about, how he's all, like, always talking about, to these other men, about,
Don't care, I have to fucking forget.
So,
What
oh yeah, so basically, he's all like to the other men about making sure the women have a choice and they're okay with everything and all this stuff, but then goes and makes this decision and bunch of decisions basically for Liz without her say, which is everything, like against everything he keeps on saying to everyone, which is a little suspicious. And I was like, hell yeah, this is great. She gets him to agree to let her see Rahash, and everyone is surprised when she instantly jumps into his arms as soon as they like let him into the same room as her. Also, here's a thing. So they gave away the in-village cave of Rahash's to someone else who needed a cave. Because there's a bunch of people mating right now, so like a bunch of new families, so they get caves first, and then all the unmated/resonated girls are in one communal area together, right? And so they give her a bed there, but basically it's the two of them in a bed there. And which point she says that she loves him and is pregnant.
Poor all those other girls having to be there with them.
Well, they don't really do anything, but she does tell him that she's pregnant and she loves him, and he's all very happy about this. The next morning, she learns Rahash got them to allow him to stay one more night with Liz to say goodbye, but his punishment is exile. I'm just gonna eat some of my stew. That's good stew. They force her. What? Let me live my life. I want to eat my stew. I'm hungry.
No, you're so real for that.
They force her to stay in the caves since she is female and pregnant, and make him leave despite both of them wanting to stay together. At which point Georgie, the main character from the first book, is upset that she's making a big deal out of it. That's my reaction.
I need everybody to be serious.
And I quote one of my thoughts for this part, because we're at the thoughts part, because that part's over. My first thought about this, which I was going to delete it when I was reading over them earlier, but like, I left it, and I quote, I would like you to recognize, I don't know what this means either, and I quote, when the others come across others, Liz is bolder than normal.
Huh?
I don't know what it means. I don't know. I think it's supposed to mean that Liz is bolder than all the other girls. I don't know.
Please repeat that, like, actually.
Literally, when the others come across others, Liz is bolder than normal.
Oh, okay.
That's literally what I wrote.
I did not. I thought you were. I didn't think you were speaking English for a second. I was like, what the hell? That made like 2% more sense than what you said the first time.
Yeah.
I was, oh my lord.
Right. So it's whenever there's more than the main duo that I have issues with. I really don't like side characters in this book. You know, the reason why I prefer the third one is very focused on them. Love it, despite the fact that they're around all these people. Um, he doesn't really react to her saying I love you, despite wanting her to say it earlier. Like, literally, just a part earlier, he was like, I love her, and I wanted to say it back to me, and all this stuff. I wanted to feel that she loves me too, but then he's just so in his head about having to leave her that he doesn't even care that she loves him. Anyways, last part. This is where it gets hilarious, because this is when she starts doing chaos level shit to get back to him, and I have a good time with this part. But first, I'm gonna eat some more stew.
I'm having issues because none of my blues fucking match. And obviously, how does blue not fucking match? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't need to be that crazy, but like, it's, Like, they don't even have to match. They just don't even, I just want them to look good together. None of these look good together. Where's Press Pause? Where is Press Pause? Where's Press Pause? I got it. Okay, sorry. I'm not, okay. I'm not having a breakdown, I swear.
Wow. Also in this part is the first time we really get to see the pairing for the third book. Which, as I mentioned, I love them. Anyways, so, Liz sees Rahash in the snow from the distance and is upset. Right? Like, he's just sitting in the ground. Like, they dropped him off a distance away, but, like, he's still visible in that distance, and so she could just see him sitting there. Sad. So they won't leave her alone, worried she'll run off to him. You know, kind of suspicious in the way that, like, makes you think maybe they should just let them be together. I don't fucking know. So they basically get her a guard. One of the other barbarians is basically her guard, which is one of the love interests for the third book. The third book is Kira. I don't know if you remember her. She's the girl that, from the original group of aliens, she got the translator implanted in her, and that's why she can understand everyone. And all this stuff. Good times. And a Hako is his name. So basically, he's basically her personal guard in this one, but like in a way where he makes sure she doesn't leave. And basically, Liz is lonely and sad. Like, girls are pairing up with guys, and the girls that aren't paired up are all hanging out together in this communal area, talking about all the stuff, and like, there's like groups who are like, I don't want to end up with an alien. There are them that are like, I need an alien, I need to be partnered up, and she's just here like one of the girls who's on her own like the others, but she's also pregnant, so like, it's this whole thing. This is where we learn that Rahash told Liz things that none of the aliens told them, which is a little suspicious. So none of the aliens told the girls that. So you know, this is winter. Basically this is alien summer, and winter hasn't come yet. But Rahash told her, yeah, it's a good time. They're knitting a bunch of, or sewing together a bunch of clothes for winter, and they're like, I can't wait for summer. And she's like, oh yeah, this is basically summer, according to Rahash. And they're like, wait, what? And she's like, oh yeah, did the aliens not tell you that? And I quote, gee, I wonder what other things they're not telling you guys. I thought we were supposed to be the equals, but maybe the goal is to keep us all barefoot and pregnant and sewing. Which, you know, iconic. But on top of being right, yes, I'm eating stew. Part of her plan is to make the other realize none of the men are great and are all pretty sexist. So, like, why is Rahash the worst one? Why are you reprimanding Rahash when he's not the only one? Like, calm your shit. That's kind of her current plan. But one of the other girls recognizes what she's doing, gets angry, and leaves, making Liz cry. I think it's Kira that does that. I'm not 100% sure. Liz has morning sickness. And while she has morning sickness, the guy who is a Shaka, I don't remember his name all of a sudden, the guy who's basically her personal guard, lets her know that Rahash has been trying to bring her food, and like leaving it at the border for her, and they have to keep on chasing him away. So, you know, good times. She learns from Georgie, main character for the first book, who is also pregnant. They're both having morning sickness right now. In the middle of the night, that Bechtel tried to pair her off with an alien that already has kids to care for her, and Liz gets pissed. So, you know, good times. Georgie tells her, hey, this happened. I already stopped him, but like he tried to make this happen, and she's like, bitch, what the fuck? You can't just like pawn me off, and gets really mad. And then Georgie's like, I know, but I like already solved this, so you don't have to be mad. And I'm like, no, you can still be mad. That's a fucked up thing to do, right? Um, the guard alien lets her out to speak with Rahash at night, telling her to have him move on since he's literally killing himself, starving himself, trying to stay there for her. Um,
No, he's so real.
yeah. Um, so this is one of the many reasons why I love this guard guy. He's great. I don't remember his name all of a sudden. I did look it up and I forgot it again. Um, but
I
he's
wasn't talking about the guard bestie. I'm mentally ill.
oh, the guard guy's real great. I love him. But I've read the third book, so I know what happened. um, she talks Rahash into caring for himself while she plans for a way for them to be together. Basically saying that she can't be cared for and safe and all this stuff if she's so worried about him. Um, After this, all the widowers start leaving her gifts, to which she replies she already has a mate. So she like tries to gift away the gifts to other people, and they're like, "No, this is your maiden gift." And she's like, "I already got a mate, so no." So basically, every single man who already has kids is trying to get with her so that she can care for their kids. And she's like, "No, I'm good." Um, she causes some trouble upsetting the other girls. Uh, so good times. And then she goes out berry picking with Kira and Guard Guy. That's his new name. And she ends up stealing his one of his knives and takes him hostage, sending Kira back to tell her hostage demands to the aliens. At which point we learn Kira and Guard Guy have like a flirtation going on. It's like this whole thing. That starts in this book, but it's like comes to a head in the next book because like it's their book. So while they're waiting for them to come back with like the aliens and the crew, her plan is basically she kidnapped him, therefore she also should be exiled, right? Um, while they're waiting, she like as soon as Kara leaves, she just takes the knife away from his neck, and he's like, cool. So like they start having a conversation about how he likes Kara, but he doesn't think Kara likes him back, and she starts trying to help him with like courting her and all this stuff. Uh, but then decides to play a prank on them and tells them to court her, he needs to make a replica dildo of his dick. And then we get alien sex ed. That is an important thing for the next book. Okay, it comes up. It comes up.
No, how, no, 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 no. How would he even do that if he were to actually attempt to like?
Apparently, he just stared at his dick for a lot of hours, and all the other guys thought he was really weird. So that's them. Right. So all the others come up to her with like her being like all her demands and all this stuff. As soon as they see them coming, she's like, "Ah, shit, we gotta get prepared again." So she takes the knife and puts it back against his throat, and he's just there laughing. It's a good time. Their banter's really cute, as like a friendly kind of way, right? Um, so everyone's there. And all the girls are like rolling their eyes when she complains that no one ever asked what she wanted since she was kidnapped from her bed all those weeks ago. At which point I asked, does no one have empathy in this book?
No, no, they don't. I'm sorry, I thought I muted myself. Now we can all noise my bed.
She gets them to re-question the whole exile thing. I already basically talked about this, but she's basically like, well, they are like, no, we're not gonna exile you. And she's like, why? Because I'm a pregnant woman. That's kind of sexist, and double standards. No. And they're like, she's like, I'll continue to cause you trouble. I've already caused you so much trouble. The best way you would solve this is by letting me leave. But first, she's being like ultra watched. There's like 3 guys watching her at this point. And they have a whole trial about it. Where they bring Rahash back and do this whole trial. And they are low-key exiled until the kid arrives. So like 3 years. At which point during those 3 years, they must hunt for everyone, so they must do like a bunch of work. Thankfully there's 2 people who can hunt in this couple, so it's fine. And then when they do have the kid, they can return and they'll get their family cave back and all this stuff. Um, the aliens have accepted human women like to do things and can now hunt if they want. Wow, growth. um, so they gather hunting supplies to go like out during the next day because they need the supplies to go out. Blah blah blah. In the hunter's cave that they are sleeping in the night before, it's like this very similar to the girls' cave where it's this communal space, kind of far away from everyone, all this stuff. But there's like no privacy and all this stuff. But she wants to get some lovin'. So she makes fake sex noises to annoy them until they leave, and then they actually do it. At which point he uses his tail for foreplay. In case you forgot, he has a tail.
I did think that they had tails, so you know.
Oh yeah, and then they do it from behind. At which point I question: do all these end with them doing it from behind? Which I would like to know as a person who has read the third one. As far as I know, yes, because I'm not reading past that one. But as far as I know, yes, because I've glimpsed the synopses and allowed them to follow the track of this one. Hear me out. I'm just gonna say it. Third one has communication. And that is one of the many reasons why I love that one, and not any of the others that I've read. So yeah. Um, it ends with him making sure she wants to leave with him, and her saying he's her life. The end. That's the book. I rated it 3 stars. At which point I was like, the first 25% of it was not it. But once they started communicating, I had a slightly better time. It's very similar to the first book. In the way like there's communication issues in both of them. Like in the first one, it's more understandable because they don't speak the same freaking language for most of the book. In this one, they speak the same languages, but he just doesn't talk for the first 25% of the book, which is so dumb to me. Why was that decision made? I don't know.
Why were these decisions made?
Oh, also my last note of all. We're on my last note ever. Ready for this?
Yes.
More erotic than Dino Stud.
I'm still sad that Dino Stud wasn't just purely Dino, like the Minotaur one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he turned into a dinosaur, but like, you know, I don't know.
I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on this book?
Why?
I don't know. What are your thoughts? You gotta tell me your
No,
thoughts.
that's the thought. Why?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, pretty accurate. It's pretty annoying to read in the beginning, knowing that he could talk the whole freaking time.
Also, why did you rate it 3 stars? Like, actually?
I don't know. The middle was very mid. The beginning was very bad. The ending was pretty good. So if you average it out, 3 stars. Average.
Boo.
And I did enjoy it slightly more than the first book, but that's because there was less focus on the plot of like all these girls and what's happening and all the stuff and the lore. I mean, I do like the lore. Lore was my favorite part of the first book, but more on the romance aspect and less on everything else surrounding it. Because there's like a lot less stuff to go through to cover in this book. So wasn't just now. I contemplated rating the third one 4 stars. So
I
can't. I'm torn
can't.
because of one aspect, but I almost did it. It's pretty good. Can't wait to tell you about that one. You're gonna have a good time. That one's actually good. Like, I get why everyone says that one's good. Because it's actually good. Hear me out, they communicate. And also, the whole entire relationship, not based on resonating. They actually care about each other.
Oh. Why did I let the picture? Why did I
let me read this book?
Why would I yeah, let's start a podcast, Rose, and then let's talk about these books. And why did I let you read these books? And then
there were a lot of steps to get us to this place, and you could stop me at any of them, but you didn't.
I really didn't. I just said I encouraged you all the way. That's why I'm a bad friend.
I was like, podcast, little JK, and you were like, sure. And then I was
I
like,
went
I
to
played a
the
book, and you were like, and I was like, well, I'll do okay, and you were like, sure. And then it was like, up to book 3, and then you were like, sure. And then I was like, book 2, pregnancy tag, and you were like, get away, and I was like, no. And you were like, sure.
Maybe I shouldn't say yes to everything. I would let you know, I received 3 Snapchats in the time before this. Right. And the one Snapchat that I want to load, still has not loaded. The other 2 I've loaded. There is multiple from one other person. That one singular one, still hasn't fucking loaded. It's fine, I fucking swear.
I love that for you.
But now I'm testing the idea I have for nails in a notebook. So I don't have to take off nail polish again.
Ooh, fun. Yeah, I've done that.
I have like 5 different colors at this point.
Bella's staring at me because I have food.
She's so real for that.
She's being such a cutie doll. She's just a sweet baby.
I love her.
I
think she's her head.
Did I tell you I called her for like 30 minutes last night? She was just laying in my mom's bed. She went to bed early, right? I told you about that. And I just climbed into bed with her in my mom's bed. And my mom came to bed. She's like, are we all sleeping here? Like, and I was like, I guess I'll get up.
I would have said yes. I'm confused to get up.
I mean, I was across the whole entire top, so she wouldn't have been able to get into bed with me there, so.
Why not?
That's not how it works. She knows I'm talking about her.
I would hope so.
You a puppy? Okay, do you have anything else to talk about in this episode? Then I'm gonna go edit.
No. I'm stressed. That's the thing. That's
I was gonna leave it at the no, but you continued, so I'll just leave that. It's fine. Oh, that was funny though. Okay.